I love these walk-up songs. It's great to be here. Thank you all for your work in this sector. It's good to see the chairman here as well. And I represent Nevada's 3rd Congressional District. And, we know that America can and must lead the world when it comes to a clean energy economy that is affordable, reliable, and secure. And American leadership in clean energy and our national security depend on us getting serious about critical minerals. And Nevada is the center of it all. We produce 1/3 of all of our energy is derived from solar. We are home to over 100 solar companies. But it doesn't end there. From our lithium deposits in Clayton Valley to copper and other rare earths across the state. Critical minerals, as you all know, are used in everything from iPhones to solar panels, electric vehicles, and fighter jets. And as Tim said, we need to work on reducing our dependence on foreign nations for these critical minerals by obtaining and processing them right here in our country. And this work will only be done with bipartisan support, not just in Congress, but across all of our states. Currently, China has a stranglehold on rare earths like samarium. Now, this is a rare earth that is used for heat-resistant magnets, and they almost entirely have applications in the defense space. And we're 100. In fact, we're also 100 dependent, 100% import dependent on 12 critical minerals. And by 2030, the United States is projected to hold only less than 2% of global critical minerals compared to China's 31%. So it's pretty clear we have a lot of work to do. To boost the U.S. supply chain, we must strengthen our ability to mine and process these critical minerals domestically. And this is going to require bold federal investments. Since 2020, the Department of Defense has committed over $349 million towards building out our domestic rare earth element supply chains. And this doesn't include a multi-billion-dollar commitment that I helped facilitate between the Department of Defense and MP Materials, a company that is headquartered in my district, has a rare earth mine on the border between California and Nevada. And this all was precipitated after I heard that the Department of Defense had awarded $350 million to an Australian company to build out a magnet processing facility, passing over MP Materials. This is a company that had already invested billions of dollars, had the facility, the components of the facility ready to go, and they received a mere $35 million investment. So I serve on the Defense Appropriations Committee as well as the Energy and Water Subcommittee, and I had the opportunity to question Secretary Hegseth in front of our committee this year, and I asked him about this imbalance and what this means to our commitment to Made in America. And I'm happy to report that a few weeks later, the Department of Defense announced a $2 billion public-private partnership with MP. It's a 10-year agreement for the entire output of a magnet manufacturing facility and a 10-year commitment for a price floor for NdPr, which is such a huge component of making sure we're bringing that critical supply chain to the United States, is competing on the price end of things as well. This commitment was groundbreaking in size and scope, but to continue down this road, it will hopefully be the first of just many types of partnerships. Getting the federal government to partner with a private company is just a first step. We cannot build out this clean energy future if projects remain tied up in uncertainty and red tape. And I have worked with Republicans and have multiple bipartisan bills that are intended to cut red tape. And I know you all heard from Chairman Westerman and Jared Goldman last night about their permitting reform bill, the SPEED Act. There's other bipartisan efforts going on as well. But I'll tell you a little bit about some of the bills that I'm working on. First, I've introduced the Rare Earth Magnet Security Act with Guy Reschenthaler. This would create a production tax credit for rare earth magnets that are manufactured in the U.S. I also partnered with Jay Obernolte and Gary Peters, Senator Peters and Langford, to create a task force to assess and address the security risks of our critical supply chains and identify more opportunities like the one I just spoke about to bring them back home. And along with Juan Ciscomani, I introduced the Critical Mineral Consistency Act. There should not be different definitions on what is a critical mineral, depending on what department creates the list. That is the current state of affairs right now, and this bill will codify this, cutting this government red tape and providing consistency across the entirety of the U.S. government. And I was also able to include 6 amendments in the NDAA, one requiring the Department of Defense to deliver a report to Congress outlining its progress in meeting Congress's ban of Chinese magnets by 2027. So besides passing these, I've been working to restore a level playing field for all technologies. We have to remember our energy needs isn't an either or. It is an all of the above. And we need to make sure we're doing everything to not pick winners or losers. It shouldn't be Washington who is making these decisions on what investments should be made. It should be investors. And so that means protecting investments in landmark legislation that we passed in the bipartisan infrastructure bill and requiring a permitting process to be fair and technology neutral. And of course, helping the clean energy industry get certainty rather than chaos and confusion coming out of this city, which this week is particularly relevant. But at a time in this country when things seem to be at a boiling point, I think we have to remember that there are members of Congress who are committed to working across the aisle, and that it doesn't matter if you represent a blue state or a red state, a rural community or an urban community, we all understand our needs. And it's going to require all of us to, put the hatchets down a little bit and work together, because this is not just an economic issue, it's a national security issue. And, we've outlined, I'm sure you've heard, our reliance on China across the board. And we can pass all the laws we want banning Chinese investment and the use of Chinese materials. But we're not going to achieve what we need, and we're not going to meet our energy demands unless we work together to break down some of the permitting barriers, but also to partner to make sure we're making these strategic investments across the country. We know we have the ability to do it in this country, and so I remain committed. I know that there are many of us. I serve in the Problem Solvers Caucus. I know we're working on permitting reform there as well. And it is one of the areas where I am hopeful that in this Congress we can actually get something done. So I just want to thank you all for all your work that you do on the ground, and know that you have partners here in Washington, and despite what you hear and read in the news, that we actually can work together when it comes to areas of common interest like clean energy. So thank you all for having me. Have a wonderful day.